Alrighty then, g'day guys,
Hello!
and welcome.
Woo.
My name's Michael, I'm the Dead Aussie Gamer, and welcome to Spelljammer, our D&D 5th edition adventure that takes us into the astral sea aboard a valiant vessel with a crew of misbegotten nitwits as they try to go on an epic quest and not get eaten by giant space flies. Joining me today, of course, are these wonderful and amazing characters from all over the internet space with a variety and myriad of talents that really make me wonder why they're not on my channel more regularly. But, for now, we've got a whole season with these amazing people. Kicking us off at the helm of this show is none other than my dear friend Ryan from Roll for Initiative. G'day, Ryan.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Doing fantastic. Everyone else? Do good?
Doing well.
Hey, what is it? Come on. I don't know.
Comment ça va? Yep.
Comment ça va?
Fantastic. Now, as you guys know, when we gather up to play these sorts of games, we have a kind of myriad of things to go through here. So let's get through them as quickly as we can. First of all, sponsors. Guys, we don't have official sponsors for this show, but for the most part, guys, we have things that make us look super, super cool. Starting, of course, with Will. Look at him. Look at Will. Will's awesome. You know what Will did? Will made our ship. That's right. Will made the boat.
That's right.
And designed it, and it was amazing. And it's in 3D, and it's somewhere on my map, which I'll show up for everyone while we do introductions. There it is. Boom.
Doo-doo.
Thank
He said doo-doo.
I did say
Thank you.
yes, I did. There it is. Look at it. Boom. How amazing is that? That's super cool. Of course, Roll 20 is our VTT of choice for today, and of course, Dungeons & Dragons and Wizards of the Coast are responsible for the game that we are playing, which of course, as mentioned, is Spelljammer. Then, of course, we'd like to thank you guys in the audience, because you guys are our biggest sponsor through your donations, through your charity, and through, of course, just simply watching our show. If you want to interact with the show, however, there we go. There are a number of ways you can donate to the show. Nope. I know how my own codes work. There it is.
You can just send it to me, guys. I swear I will split it up with the rest of you guys. But if you want to just direct transfer to my bank account.
Yeah, so that's it's like the secret,
Venmo,
the backroom
PayPal,
VIP experience. Beautiful. There are a number of ways that you guys can support the channel and, of course, interact with the game as we play. For $5, you can grant inspiration to a player of your choice. For $10, you can grant inspiration to our GM Ryan. For $20, you can grant a magic item or a magic or alien item boon for the party to be able to use. And for $50, you will sit down with Ryan sometime between episodes in order to hash out an NPC for the show, to be integrated into the show permanently and become a feature of our Spelljammer adventure. So
join
cool
us.
Come aboard. But of course, there is no show without the stars, and for that, I'm going to turn the introductions over to my wonderful fellow cast members, starting, of course, with none other than, let's go in reverse order this time, starting with Nyx, aka Ruan.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nyx. I'm going to be playing Ruin, the Artificer, Cannoneer, Engineer. I still don't like all this extra work. But I guess I'll do the job because y'all keep trying to kill yourselves and me with you. So, like, if I want to survive, I guess I'm going to have to do the job, and I'm not happy about this.
Fair. Next up, of course, playing the role of the remarkable Will is none other than our dear friend Tucker.
Hey everyone, I'm Tucker. I am playing Will. I am the warlock who also represents the firm which hired the ship to chart this passage to Kryn space.
All right. And then, of course,
Mysterious.
joining me from my land of green and gold is my dear friend Ellen, playing the role of Lockjaw.
Hello, I'm Ellen. I do other TTRPG stuff, so come follow me on my channel at Roll to Cast. That's ROLE to cast, variety TTRPG. So there's something for everyone. And I'm sorry, it just started hailing here. Just literally chucking it down. Sunny old Australia. That's what they say. And I am playing the half-sozzled, half-orc Lockjaw, who's seen some things in his time and wants to go out nowhere but on the bow of a ship. That's me.
Nice. And of course, you guys know me. My name is Marco. I'm the Dennis Gamer. This is my place. This is my face. And I play Lockridge. He's a South African fellow. He likes to consider himself to be quite strong and look after people around him. For the most part, he just wants to be left alone to have a good nap without people bothering him. But apparently, no one likes this idea of a giant sleeping hippo. So that's what he's done. Parts of Tasmania are flooding. Apparently, should watch out for that. But yes, that is me.
They need a ship.
They need
Am
a
I
ship.
right?
We make fun of them.
Sorry to anyone in Tassie.
Yeah, I was gonna say we make fun of them, but you know, be careful, be safe.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there.
All right. Now, of course, leading us away, the star of the show, the one, the only. I don't know if you've heard about this person, the amazing Ryan from Roll for Initiative, our game master.
It's me. Yeah, I play everybody else and all of the bad guys and stuff like that. And I roll some dice and I try to kill them every week, but dang it, they just keep surviving.
Well,
One of these days, Ryan.
One of these days, Alice.
Pow, zoom, straight to the moon.
Straight to the moon.
All right, and of course, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, strap yourselves in as we begin episode 4 of Flight of the Northwest.
Hello. The way this adventure started was all of our cast and crew commissioned by the company that Will works for to chart a new passage from realm space to Kryn space to make it as quickly and as safely as possible. So the crew that was assembled aboard the Northwest under Captain Grawl is a group of folks that want the adventure and understand that there's a better than average chance they might not make it back. Things were going well until they weren't, and through a bunch of spiders and exploding ticks and strange plasma magical fire, they now find themselves aboard the ship, broken and burned. Where we left off, after repairing the ship as much as possible, Captain Grawl did what she could, and through using the siphoned magic of Will and Lockjaw, was able to give one last push, sending the ship rocketing towards the asteroid that Will had charted a course towards. The magic was overpowering and cracked the spell-jamming helm in half. The ship continues to accelerate well beyond what anybody is used to or anyone on the crew is used to, as well as what the ship itself is used to. Each day, if they're lucky, through a little bit of fishing, which is difficult at these speeds, and through the druidic magic of Lana, the Drider chef, a little less than half of the crew is able to have a cup of water and a single meal. Dehydration, starvation, and the fact that they can barely sleep is coupled with the fact that everybody feels double or sometimes triple their weight as the force of gravity pushes against them as the ship continues to rocket forwards. 5 days of this leaves a number of crewmates unconscious. A couple of them have passed away from starvation. A couple of them have passed away with strange puncture wounds and burn marks on their bodies. It's not uncommon for any of the crew, including the 4 officers, to wake up in a spot that they didn't realize they had passed out and dragged to safety from. It was in this state that we started this show, with Lockjaw coming to consciousness, failing death saves, seeing Klein, the former ensign, decide that the best way out of the situation for him was to throw himself, noose around his neck, from the railing of the ship. Ruin, you have just come up the stairs to the top deck. You see Klein throw himself off, and you see Lockjaw reaching out and then passing out unconscious again. You are the length of the ship from Lockjaw. You have a feeling that things might be very, very bad for him. How would you like to start us off?
So Klein has pitched himself off the ship.
Yes, so Klein finds himself about 10 feet tethered from the neck off the side. He has passed through the air envelope, which is dangerously small and flickering. It should normally be 160 feet out from the ship. It is 10 feet out from the ship. So he is being dragged by the neck by the ship, and Lockjaw has passed out up on the quarterdeck. You have just come up the steps towards the bow of the ship.
Can I pretty much haul ass over to the rope, because you said Klein's tethered.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can triage the situation, haul him back first.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and get a look at where all of this is taking place. Lockridge and Will are, whether asleep because it's their wash or unconscious, they find themselves, they are not a part of the situation quite yet. They are down in the officer's cabin. You are able to get yourself 10, 15, 20. So with a double movement, you are able to get yourself up to the edge where it seems that Klein has tied things off to. Yeah, absolutely. You'll make let's have this be a strength check as you try to, against the inertia of the ship moving, since he's outside the air envelope. You're essentially on a speedboat hauling him in by the neck.
And that's a 7.
Oh.
So yeah, you are struggling to, and you can't overcome. You can't overcome the resistance that his body versus the speed of the ship is, because like this isn't just a normal, like you guys don't normally feel the effects of what is essentially pulling G's.
So with that, can I just start making a ruckus to see if I can get more people on deck?
So there are people on the deck already. Half of you, as you look around, at least one person you're pretty sure is dead, and a couple handfuls other are unconscious. But yeah, if you sort of scream and shout a little bit, make a persuasion check. We're going to call it a persuasion check, but we're just going to kind of roll that to see, is anyone able to come to your aid here?
Not me. Sorry.
That's a 6.
Oh, no.
at this point, like you see a couple of people sort of like there's one person in this group down in the little well next to the broken remnants who starts to like grab at the railing to try to pull themselves up. They'll try to drag themselves over to you, and as that happens, go ahead and roll this strength check at advantage as they help to try to haul Klein in.
Kim out. You get this.
There's an 18
Okay.
and a 21.
Oh,
Okay. So we'll say that you are able to pull Klein in between the two of you as he passes through the edge of the air envelope, and you all sort of see it flicker like an old CRT television screen gone to snow. And like that snow static envelops the entire ship. And people sort of look up, and there is that moment as you pull Klein through the air envelope. You're worried, is this it? Is that going to break? And all of your atmosphere, all of your air is gone. But as he enters into the air envelope and is affected by the gravity plane at the bottom of the ship, his body slams against the edge of the ship hard, and you're able to pull him up over the railing. So Klein's body is there with the small group on the stairs here.
Can I check and see whether or not
Make a medicine
he's even
check.
alive? Ten.
It's hard to tell. It's hard. It's not your exact area. You're more used to working with machines than a person, but you get the rope off of his neck, and he's on the deck. He's on the ship again.
Can I just bark at the people that are over there with me? Do what you got to do. Take care of him, and then try and make my way to Lockjaw.
Yeah. I mean, you see, they nod. They're sort of barely clinging on to consciousness themselves, but it looks like what they're able to do is they just sort of like grab Klein's hand and are just staying with him at this point. But yes, you can make yourself over to Lockjaw.
it's very kind of you. I wouldn't. I'd leave him to die.
All right. So he's unconscious. He is dying, but not dead. I'm going to give you this moment to do an action, and see what that does, and then we'll see if Lockjaw needs to make another death save, which I believe you are 1-1.
Yes.
Knowing how old salty sailors can be, I rummage around for Lockjaw's flask,
I'm
and-
so thirsty.
dump it down his gullet.
Okay. So
Does that work with my fenton?
So giving somebody a potion while they're unconscious. I know Lockjaw has an ability. There's something with your class basically as a drunkard. So what is that? What is that ability? What's that feat?
That I can drink a lot. No, it's that it's due to an amulet I have of the
Your
drunkard. While wearing it, I can regain 4d4 plus 4 when I drink a pint of beer, ale, mead, or wine. It doesn't say anything about spirits, but I'm going to assume that you need less because spirits are more alcoholic or less liquid.
Sure.
Sure. But I guess you gotta like like rub my throat or something.
You gotta,
I don't
clamp your
you
mouth.
have to
Clamp
You
your
gotta
mouth,
baby
kick
bird
you in
it.
the gut real hard.
so I don't just drown.
Um,
Oh man.
yeah. We'll say then that's gonna get you back up
Yes.
then. So that'll get us there, and that'll get us out of the clear. So describe. You probably only catch a couple seconds of consciousness before you fall back unconscious from exhaustion, not from the dying status or anything like that. So in those 2 or 3 seconds of being brought back from the edge of death by this last swig of whiskey, what is that like, Lockjaw?
I think Lockjaw like drinks it, runs his tongue along his dry lips and off his kind of sucks his tusks to get the last remnants of alcohol, kind of like grabs Ruin. It's like, is there no whiskey left? And passes out. What? Only beer? I mean, it's his flask, so.
Absolutely. Fantastic. I am going to roll here. And we're going to say that Klein, we're going to see if Klein survived this. So we're going to set this pretty high. Klein's going to try to hit a DC 15 here. And we're going to give him essentially a Constitution save here. And with a natural 1,
Oh.
Klein is no more.
That's rough.
The next day doesn't really have a lot of meaning. 1, you're in space, and 2, there isn't the normal flow of, 8-hour shift, 8-hour shift, 8-hour shift, because essentially everyone just falls unconscious when they have to and wakes up when they can, if they do. But at the start of the next day, the crew gathers on the deck. The captain is there. All of our officers are there on the deck. Klein has been wrapped in his hammock and is laying on the deck there. The captain has brought up 3 small barrels, and into one barrel, as painful as it is for everyone to watch her do this, the captain pours her ration of water into one barrel, sets like a half-eaten apple into a second barrel, and puts a gold coin into the third. And those 3, like I say barrel, they're like little whiskey barrels. They're like this big. Those 3 barrels get tucked into the sailcloth, the hammock that Klein is wrapped in. The captain says, Klein sailed with me for a number of years. He was as reliable as he was reliable. But for his faults, he was a good man and a good sailor. It takes all 5 of you, just with the sort of weakened state everybody is in, to pull him up and to toss him overboard. for his burial at sea. Lockjaw, do you the captain sort of nods to Lockjaw and to the other officers and asks if anybody has any other words that they would like to say. Lockjaw's Exo, you sort of have first dibs at something to say here.
Gosh, I wish I'd warmed up. Gosh, I wish I'd warmed up for this. But in sorrow, our will wishes sing louder than any dodgy chords. And all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls onto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and I'll softly call good night and joy be with you all. Just solemnly, he will kind of keep slowly plucking.
The crew just sort of hangs their head, and is solemnity and respect sort of washes across the deck of the ship. The other three of you, Lockridge, Ruin, and Will, standard chores, the standard work to be done on ship is, there's not a lot of it there. So, kind of starving, malnourished, parched, doing your best. What would three of you, together or individually, what would you like to do with the day that you still have here on ship?
Will has been pretty regularly and not quite obsessively, but probably more frequently than is necessarily required, checking star maps against any sort of recognizable things that we fly past, to, not that we could do anything to change it, but just to make sure that we are continuing on the course that was originally set.
Great, make a survival check for me.
Guidance.
Sure. You don't
11 altogether.
11. You're confident that you haven't drifted, and you're relying on your sort of telemetry navigation of that first launch, and hoping that this sort of unexpected speed doesn't put you at the right spot but too soon. But you think that you should all sort of probably within the next 12 to 24 hours, it's tough to remember what day it is, but you think you're about 12 to 24 hours away from where you think you're supposed to be.
Will doesn't spread that around to everyone because they don't want that to, if that calculation's off, people looking forward to that and that not happening could lead to more problems. Then it would potentially help. But will make sure that Captain Grawl knows, and we'll also probably tell Lockjaw and the Locks and Ruin.
The Locks.
The Locks, I love it.
Nice. Speaking of Lockridge, what would you like to do for your day?
So as this has been going on, Lockridge has been like kind of squirreling away supplies. How does Lockridge look?
Oh yeah. I mean, everyone has lost an amount of weight that makes them look less healthy. So, I mean, the pounds that is on, I mean, like, so Lana, her exoskeleton looks ashy and cracked in places, and the skin on her torso is sort of sallow and all of that kind of stuff. The scales on the captain look dry and not and much more brittle than they normally are. So that subsequent, I mean, imagine going nearly a week now, having a glass of water and a microwave sandwich for breakfast, and that's all you eat every day. Now, Lockridge has had what they've been hiding, so however you choose to share or continue to keep that to you, you let me know what Lockridge looks compared to everybody else.
Okay. Lockridge is not a. He is not either. He's neither a pleasant person when it comes to food, nor is he a very intelligent person. So I imagine that while everyone is losing weight, Lockridge really hasn't lost nearly the kind of weight that everyone else has. He's not. I mean, I wouldn't say that he's eating as well as he normally does, but. But he definitely does not look as in as much dire straits. And for that matter, neither does the gnomish engineer who's hopefully keeping the secret of Lockridge's stash and the jerky that he's been making to himself. As Lockridge did not account for water, because obviously water in the Astral Sea is still quite sparse as well. Lockridge will be taking the day and the time to try and boost some morale in and around the place. As morbid as it is, he is going to go to Klein's like kind of footlocker and start doing what most, I believe, Maritimers kind of do. Anything that's not like kind of reserved for next of kin is starting to get handed out. Boots and shoes and drawings and maps and stuff. Anything that they have is being kind of like who wants a new pair of shoes? Who Rot? Who wants Rot? I've got what looks to be some beard oil. Does anyone want some beard oil? Come on, look. I can't use it.
Will looks at Ruin.
I mean, that's useful for a lot of things, not just.
Would you want it?
If we're handing out stuff, I can find a use for it.
All right, I'll toss the beard oil over to Ruin and say, all right, now I've got a partially stained spaghetti covered shirt. Just needs a bit of a wash. Might be a while before you can wash it, but. And I'll just be, again, like I said, just doling out these sundry belongings.
One thing that you find as you go through this, it casts a bit of a pall on a already dour thing that you're doing here. You find essentially like a little bamboo cage, about half the size of a shoebox, that it looks like you would have to guess is that Klein has this. It's this little spiny. It looks like a cross between a rat and a horned lizard. It looks like he kept it as a pet, but this thing also has not been fed, and so it is just sort of a hard husk of this dead pet that it looks like Klein had been keeping secretly in his footlocker. And you would have to again imagine that he would sneak it out and feed it during night watches or something like that.
Has the Has the body been thrown out to sea already, or is it still kind of there?
That happened this morning, so we'll say that this is sort of your day after that has occurred.
All right. Lockridge will pocket the tiny rat, and then we'll have like a little mini burial later on in the day.
That's nice.
He'll wrap it up in like a tiny handkerchief, give it like one copper piece, and like a thimble filled with water, and maybe like a strip of jerky, and then just sort of throw it out.
Chuck it.
Yeah, just chuck it.
Okay. Nice. That's surprisingly sweet. That's very
As a quick aside, since you asked about appearances, Will actually probably looks surprisingly unaffected by the rationing, especially since he voluntarily gave up his rations.
So this is something
Doesn't comment on it, but
that's something that has not gone unnoticed by some of the rest of the crew. And there is, especially for Ruin, who is still seen as one of the guys by a lot of the rest of the men and women of the crew from time to time. There are rumors. You hear rumors that there's an engineer who has a stash of food. This gnome. You've heard rumors that Will and the captain have made a deal, and that is why some of these bodies that have been buried in space, sent over the edge, that they're catching them when we're not leaking and cooking them in the middle of the night, and that's why there's just these little rumors of and somebody will chime in and say, oh no, that's ridiculous, that's not what it is. Lana makes food for the officers that she doesn't say that she can do anymore, and that's what it is. So even some of these rumors contradict each other. There's a couple of crew members that then pipe up and say, don't you talk about the captain that way. She's doing her best. She nearly killed herself to try to get us where we're going. And people, boo at him and throw stuff. And things are getting pretty dire. Bruin, what do you want to do with the rest of your day?
Probably since, because you said we're moving faster than Spelljammers normally move.
Yeah.
Probably to keep people somewhat busy, organize groups, and me myself too, just kind of a routine walk around, check structural integrity of the ship, make sure we ain't got bits falling off this boat, stow those fucking rumors, and get your ass to work.
Very nice. Make a
If anyone wants any old-timey insults, I have not been able to use smell fungus, which is for whiny travelers, which I do believe can be used against the crew in this point.
That actually sounds absolutely perfect for it. Make let's call this either a performance or... Well, no, we don't need to make it into a check. Yeah, you're able to do that, and that actually you put folks to work, and that does sort of calm things down a little bit. Even if it's work that you can, that maybe doesn't need to get done, you have people doing it anyway. It's like the enlisted guy who's mopping the deck of a carrier in the rain, but it's a job, and that actually seems to, surprisingly enough, help with morale quite a bit for the day. It is a few hours after that that I need to... We're going to roll here. So I'm going to roll a d12. We're going to say 1 through 4 is Will. Oh, nope. That's not what we need to do because there isn't a spell jamming helm to be attuned to.
Oh man.
So instead, something that Will and Lockjaw are normally used to. You're used to when something approaches close enough to the ship, about a mile or so, and you're cruising along, the ship will slow itself down. It's almost like the ships are quasi-sentient in a weird way. The ships will slow themselves down, and you either deal with what it is or you sail at this slower speed until you get further away, and then you can go back up to your cruising speed. And you know that there's always this weird, like, you know, when you're in a car and you go down a dip a little too fast, that sort of in your stomach dip feeling. There's that feeling that you get when that starts to happen. Everybody on board feels it, and it is it goes from a funny sort of losing your balance feeling in your stomach up to like a ball of bile forcing its way up your throat, to dizziness, as just this sort of raw and unfocused sensation ripples through the ship. The boards creak, the ring of fire that powers the ship flares, the nebula ball at the top shifts colors, the air envelope shimmers and shakes, and the entire ship itself starts to, that corkscrew that it was doing, the ship itself starts to shake, and the corkscrew lessens and lessens as you can see up ahead, getting closer and closer, a grouping of, it looks like the tail of the asteroid that you had been shooting for, of Cthulhu. There's a group of large chunks of debris and rock and asteroid behind it that the ship is rocketing towards. You have gotten towards your destination, and as the ship tries to slow itself in its normal way, you see I have to double check it because there actually are rules for this. Size of creature or object struck. There we go.
That's
right.
reassuring.
Oh yeah.
Is that right? Wow, I think it is. No.
You make us
You're just
very
twisting
nervous.
the knife at this point.
Well, can we actually tell if we're going to crash, like into stuff before we crash?
Normally, oh wow, Roll20 is still trying to roll the dice that I rolled. Like,
What?
they haven't popped up yet. There we go. It did the math.
What are you doing?
So normally, Michael, yes, the person who is attuned to the helm can tell that there's something there, and they can sort of use the senses and see what's going on and all of that. Because there isn't the focus of the helm anymore, essentially, you all can tell it the same way. Oh, that's a horrible reference. I won't use that reference. The same way that anybody standing on the deck of a ship sailing at high speed towards a large rock would be able to tell. I think we're going to hit that.
Oh my god.
Okay, sweet. Because I would like to try something if I can see that we're heading towards it. So
Yep.
this is
this last second before it happens, what do you do?
Oh, I wanted to do it as we were approaching. So here's my plan. Because if I could see that we're heading, like, we're on a collision course. Because Lockridge is kind of one of those, like, I'm not just gonna sit here and just go, oh well, and play bagpipes or the ukulele.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, go for
Hey,
it.
man.
I'm gonna shout at any person who can still get on their feet to man the harpoons, and I want to try and shoot some of the debris that is running along the tail adjacent to the actual meteor tail, in order to try and use that opposing momentum to slow us from a full head-on collision.
Ooh.
Because we have harpoons, we have rope, and I am skilled in harpooning, specifically harpooning big creatures. And
Nice.
yeah, so rather
Yeah.
than coming on dead on into it, the idea is to kind of grab onto some of the tails, so we'd be facing the front of the ship to the back of it as we swing around to slow us down rather than go straight in. If that makes
You're
sense.
trying to
Glancing blow as opposed to
almost
a
scrape the hull.
Yeah. I'm
broadside
basically
as
trying to
opposed
parallel park.
Okay.
I was, yeah.
Tell you what, it's a wonderful idea, and a fully fit and lively crew would probably be able to hop to it very quickly. Roll a persuasion check, and this is just the idea of, not the idea of persuading them that it's a good idea, but this roll is going to determine, are people physically capable of doing this fast enough under your guidance? And I'm going to say that the captain starts echoing your orders. I mean, you start doing it. The captain realizes what you're doing, so you can make the persuasion at advantage.
All right, could I do that with an intimidate? Because basically, do this or I'm going to shoot you.
Well, everyone's dying anyway, and I'm pretty sure that
Fair enough.
intimidation.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
My-
Kill me?
Don't threaten me with a good time.
All right, here we go. With advantage.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, with advantage.
All right. Oh, that's all right. That's a 16.
16. All right. We're going to say that you guys, you tie some ropes to the shot for these smaller bolt cannons that have been designed for this ship, and under that, we're just going to shave. We're going to shave 2d10 off of the damage that the ship is about to take.
Yay.
So,
Good.
Similarly, as soon as Will saw this, he'd be shouting below deck
that's not right.
for people to hang on to something if they did not see this coming.
You rolled it badly. Hey, that's pretty good. So
Mhm.
yeah, so 92, 82, 80, 74. So the ship takes 74 points of damage as you collide with a fairly large size of these asteroids. You don't hit dead on, and the asteroid tears into the side of the ship. Everybody goes flying, but we'll say between slowing down and Will shouting down to the lower decks, nobody flies off the rails. Everyone stays on the ship. We don't have anyone overboard, and it doesn't seem that we have any casualties from the collision. Where you find yourselves is crashed into one of 3 large asteroids that seem to have broken off from the main tail of the comet. 2 things catch your attention. One is a web of laser beam-like beams of magical energy in blue, green, and red that web themselves, that tether these 3 asteroids together. The second thing that catches your attention is a large sailed ship that did not fare so well as it crashed into this. You can see that one of the large asteroids is crushing a good third of the deck of this ship. Its bow almost broke. Her back's almost broken. And the bodies of sailors floating in space as they had been flung from this other ship. It looks quite a bit like this.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's cool.
That's horrifying. I love it.
The ship is at a stop. Everybody make a perception check for me, please.
One day I'll have a character who's perceptive. That's not
Hey,
too
that's
too
actually
bad.
quite good.
17.
Wow. 15.
Everybody. There we go.
Dang. Run.
There it is.
All right. There's one.
Can't have everyone with a good perception. That's just not normal.
Lockridge is busy sort of trying to get some of the ropes back on.
All right, I don't know if you realize, but there's a big rock, okay? I was busy focusing on the big rock.
Lockjaw, Ruin, and Will, of all of this, the thing that you notice the most is the derelict broken ship and the larger asteroid that it has crashed into. Between the two of those things, they seem large enough that they have created a much larger air envelope than the Northwest creates. As the smoke from the fire and the toxic, poisonous air that you've been breathing for 3 days begins to lift and filter and be replaced with fresh, clean, breathable air as you've slipped into the gravity well and air envelope of this much larger body in space. What do you all do as you start to collect yourselves? Glancing out, seeing these bodies floating in this other ship that is only about, you would guess, maybe 100 or so feet off of your starboard bow.
Captain, I think we should raid that ship for supplies. Obviously, any food on board is not going to be of use to all the poor souls out in space, but they could save us and bide us some extra time while we patch up the Northwest.
The captain says, agreed, Mr. Lockjaw, in charge of supplies as well as any of the mechanical things that we might use to repair our own ship and spelljamming helm. Take Mr. Ruin with you. Mr. Will and Mr. Lockridge, what can we make of this web work in front of us? And she sort of is walking towards the bow of the ship, the fore of the ship, where you see this network of magical energy or ley lines spread out in a web in front of you.
Can I make an Arcana check, or has Will seen anything even vaguely similar to this?
Yeah. Roll a Arcana check.
Guidance. I'm going to use one of our inspirations.
Go for it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
A good time for that.
Or you just leave it like that.
do-
Look, I don't know.
Well, I was going to say we do
It's not
have
enough one.
inspiration from the chat. We have 5 of them for the players to burn.
I just used one of them.
So we have
Yeah. I'd say that's pretty important
this-
to know.
This is
important.
it's just not the dice. The dice don't have it. This
It's
is
a
not
mystery.
something that you've come
So this
across.
is I will see if this bites us in the ass, but I'm going to use knowledge of a past life to try and boost that a little bit further. That gets us above a 10 at least. That's an 11.
It's an 11.
Goodness
Yeah,
gracious.
I think that our percentile is to 75 at this point.
Yeah, that sounds right. That's a 10.
Well below. Yeah, you're fine there. Even with the 11 though, this is not this is not something that you've encountered. You're not sure what it is. You can see, I mean, it's on the map, so I'm going to address it, obviously, that's here. You can see that these lines are bouncing between these sort of floating, magically charged crystals that seem synchronous in place around these other large asteroids. Those crystals are not a part of the asteroids, but you have no idea what it is that they're supposed to do. Lockridge, why don't you take your perception check as you take a look at all of this?
Actually, Lockridge was going to ask if, because Lockridge is a bit of an old salt when it comes to things. Like he's been on multiple ships. He's like sort of done campaigns. He's been a wartime GIF. He's been a peacetime GIF. Can I make a history check to just see if I've ever just come upon something of this nature?
100%, absolutely. Go for that.
It's good idea.
All right, that is a 14.
Okay. With a history check, I'm going to say that this is something that you have not encountered, but you have heard of.
All right. If I use an inspiration to potentially get higher, would that be potential for more information?
You're pretty close to a threshold, so it's up to you if you want to go for it. Sure.
I'll try to get the extra threshold. So I'm gonna roll. Gonna get that, and no, that wouldn't give me jack. Yeah, that's fine. I'll take the 14. But I'm because I like to pretend like I'm actually using them up.
Sure.
Like my dice actually have a limited supply of ones that they're allowed to give me per game. Right.
It's true. Yeah. You got to train them. Train the ones out of them.
You've not encountered it personally, but you've heard of another soldier talk about these, another sailor talk about this. So it's a trap, essentially. It's a web. That it's kind of binding these three together. They have a larger gravity well. They have a larger air envelope that attracts certain types of creatures. It's larger, so it can slow down smaller spell jamming ships, kind of like it did for yours, kind of like it seems like it did. The ship that's crashed is larger than your ship, but it's not like a massive galley or anything like that. And so it's designed to essentially be a decoy of sorts as a trap. And as you look into it, you see scattered throughout it, caught on these beams of magical energy, almost as if, almost like an insect on a strand of spider silk. I know you just dealt with spiders. It's not spiders. That's just the reference.
It's always spiders.
You see about a dozen or so space dolphins. There's no other word for them. That seem to, a couple of them are dead, but a few of them are still struggling against it. And it's actually at that point, I like it. It's actually at that point, everybody make a will save for me, please.
What?
Yes.
We're gonna die by space dolphins?
No.
You can never trust a space dolphin.
I've always said I don't want to.
Dolphins.
I've always said I don't want to go out by space dolphin.
All right, so will fails.
Nunchucks of the sea, we call them.
Was it a wisdom saving check?
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Lockjaw saves.
Yes, I'm wise to their ways. You nearly marry a space dolphin once, and you remember their tricks.
But you fuck one goat. Lockridge fails, and Ruin. Where's your? No, Ruin will save. So Will, this makes sense. Will and Lockridge, you're the ones that are up front. It's at that point that you just sort of the way that Thrycreen communicate, except a little more painfully. You don't take damage, but it's invasive, it's uncomfortable, it's painful. You just in your head hear cries and voices. It's not voice-like language, but you're overwhelmed with the emotion, the sensation of these things are crying out psychically for help.
Oh. What's it like to people who pass the save?
Actually, the way that this works out, you're far enough away. You're just not you're not hearing or affected by whatever this is. And This is actually a good time to jump back to the U. So Ruin and Lockridge, essentially, the two of you. Maybe this is why you don't notice it. The captain. And she sort of, the captain enlists Lana's help in doing this. But the captain and Lana both cast air bubble on the two of you. So a bubble of breathable air, and it lasts for up to 24 hours. Just like a diving bell helmet.
Yeah.
Just bloop, bloop, around your head, both of your head.
Excellent.
And the two of you are now prepped and ready. A good strong kick, and you can. I mean, it's weightless. You can push off and get over that away.
All right. No time like the present. Do you need a push, or will you be all right? Just with a jump.
You're gonna have to throw me.
I throw Ruin.
That's fantastic. You know what? Both of you make an athletics check for me, just because I want to see what happens if you roll a 1 or a 20.
I'm hoping this is where Featherfall can come in handy. This is the one time as a character I've had Featherfall, because usually I'm falling to my death. Athletics, you say?
30-20.
Yes, please.
Us 14.
Ruin missile right into the side of the
I'd like to imagine that's why yours is so good. It's because I literally like chuck you.
Sail through a porthole like you're throwing a dart.
Yeah, like a projectile. But then in doing that, because I've thrown you, my center of balance is off, so I just kind of go, whoa.
It's like if you've ever seen like somebody that's a really good skydiver and somebody that's not. And so, Ruin, you push off and you just, head forward. Your neck is locked, but it's not like uncomfortable. Your arms are by your side. And you're just like, boo, and you head right there. And then, Lockjaw, you decide to try to tie your bootlaces halfway through it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I should get that. Do we make it okay?
No, you both make it over.
Right,
you both make it over there. I just wanted to see if I got to fuck with you guys.
We die. You just plunge into space like Sandra Bullock in Gravity.
So you do pass a couple of bodies that are floating in space, and they're just they're mummified, frozen husks. These have been here for a while. This is not a recent collision to your mind. This did not just happen. It's been days, weeks, maybe at least. But you are able to touch down, and you sort of just land on the deck of this ship. It's splintered. The gravity plane is still working. The air envelope is still working, but you can tell that it's not. The ship is not in tip-top shape. There are a couple of dead bodies. There's where you land. Let's go ahead and move you over here.
Whee!
And zoom in a little bit on you there.
There we are.
There is. You see, actually, to you, it is. There's just a blob. There's a bluish blob that has a bandolier and a belt with a dagger and a coin purse, sort of just floating in this blob of blue jelly, kind of half frozen. immediately right next to you, Lockjaw, and then you can see that there's a astral elf corpse ruin just a couple of steps, about 10 feet away from you, just dead on the deck of the ship.
And they are dead, right?
Oh yeah, these are
Okay.
dead, frozen. Skin is half frozen, half boiled. Space is not kind to organic material.
Is this a much fancier vessel? Is there any kind of like a
It's not
wayship,
necessarily
rowboat,
fancier.
skiff?
It's just a different type of vessel. It's a lot more. Lockjaw, you would recognize it immediately as being influenced by Githyank culture. It's not a Githyank ship, but it's influenced by, much like Lockjaw himself.
Oh,
This
is a vessel that's probably seen some miles on it.
But is there a possibility of any type of like something we can pile supplies in, like some type of rowboat, skiff?
If you take 10 minutes as you start to search around and do that kind of stuff, you're able to find a small sort of like 2-person skiff that you can probably start to put some supplies into and things like that. There's also plenty of rope where you think you could pretty easily get like a rope pulley system back and forth between the two ships. You could kind of go either way with that.
Well, see, since we have a way of moving large amounts of stuff, is this a distance I can throw something back to our ship?
It's about 100. Give me 1 second. You are.
Or maybe Lockjaw can throw something.
I got decent.
I mean,
athletics.
you get it's an 80-foot gap here. Up towards the prow of the ship, it's a little bit closer. It's about 50 feet. So it's
I'm talking like
it's a bit of a chunk.
Object.
If you want to give it a shot, to throw, a baseball-sized something or other, we'll have you roll an attack. We'll see how it goes.
Because I want to take and find just a piece of just flotsam, something on the deck that I can pick up that's small and throwable, and use magical tinkering to put a 6-second recorded message telling the crew, send over, just hit us with harpoons so we can move stuff back and forth along the ropes.
Nice. Just make a straight up attack roll. Just an unarmed, or a dex,
strike?
really, honestly.
A dex? Okay.
Yeah, just a dex check. Add your ability modifier. Or your proficiency modifier. What's your proficiency?
You say 8 total then.
You throw it. It throws wide and it doesn't quite make it, but another crew member is able to sort of, tie a rope to himself, jump out. He grabs it. It takes a little bit longer than what you like, but yeah, at that point, you do in fact get a line. Well, I thought you were going to get a line. It just sort of thunks in from your midship starboard cannon and thunks into the hull of the other ship. So you have a rope line now between the two of you. Absolutely.
Good thinking. Shall we get
Nice.
to
Okay.
loading up?
So let's say you two will start searching around a little bit from there, and let's tab back over to Will and Lockridge with our magical net.
Just sort of idle curiosity, is there a name written on the other ship?
There is, yes. It is the Demeter.
The Demeter?
All
I'm
right.
hoping that means it's got plenty of food.
And
Or at least
so
alcohol.
while the other ship, while the web is made out of light, things are actively like stuck to the light. It appears.
Yeah, it looks like these beams of light are what these space dolphins are stuck in. Yes, that's what they're adhered to. They can't get out of the separate beams of light.
All right.
All right.
So
We'll kind of.
back when I was touring with the Kilimintari, I came across something very similar where they used a kind of like a trap to create this net within the Astral Sea. It seems as though not only the dolphins, but perhaps even this other ship ended up crashing into it. If it weren't the one that actually put it out there. I mean, they could be very stupid and just put it out and then rode straight into it, which is very dumb. But you know,
So, you're saying that these webs are traps set up by someone?
oh, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily have used this specific pattern. Lots of large gaps, but yes, no, it's very very high tech fishing. You know, I prefer the harpoon, but that seems to be what these are. So I'd try and tell the crew to avoid coming into contact with any of the light directly. And if we want to break this thing, I imagine that what we have to do is we have to damage the relays that are placed around. I could see at least two of them here. There's that blue one and the green one. There's also another blue one over there, which I think is the interconnecting one. So if we break that, it should disrupt the lawns and then free some of these dolphins. But I can only see that maybe that these dolphins might be grateful, but they might also be very angry. Because I would be very much upset if I was caught in the net by people riding on a ship like this.
Anything that gets them to stop screaming.
Yeah, and so as this takes you a few minutes to figure out. Let's say this 10 minutes and things like that. You know, well, first of all, you have a voice in your head that is without language but just emotion, crying out for help. Do either of the two of you do anything about that?
No, I'm very accustomed to putting down my thoughts of my own self-innocence.
Okay, so
and keeping it to one side.
You push that down. Does Will react to that sort of psychic connection at all?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Okay.
They are.
How do you
distracted.
react? But you get the feeling you can't really react with language. So what sort of vibe do you send out at them?
Sympathy and reassurance?
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Hashtag good vibes only.
Yes. Good vibes.
I'm glad I pushed it down because Lockridge is looking at that large bit of meat on a bone and is just thinking hungry.
17.
Yeah, with a 17. And we'll address the big, large hunk of meat in the middle in a second. So with a 17, you send out this feeling of reassurance, of help, of assistance, of that kind of stuff. The voices, the feelings quiet down.
Oh, good.
And both of you, you get sort of the mental image of the crystals, and then you get a feeling of anger and violence, and then a feeling of failure. You then get an image of the crystal, and you get the feeling of arcane magical manipulation, and you get the feeling of hope. Lockridge, for you, with a little bit more context, you get the feeling based off of what this other sailor told you, and those two sort of feelings of emotion. You can try to physically damage these crystals, and if you can destroy them, which will be very difficult, but possible, that will help free them. Or if you can affect them sort of magically, that may be easier, but it takes a very specific type of magic to affect the crystals.
Well, given that I'm a giant hippopotamus with a gun, and have no magic whatsoever, I'm going to talk to the captain, and Will with me as well. I'll say, all right, well, Captain, I think that for at least the time being, we seem to be secured while the away team is getting the food and supplies ready. We could either free these creatures, or, we could just leave them. There's no benefit really from saving them. And if you look there, there's can I see the big hunk of meat?
Yes, so there's a giant chunk of meat. It does not look particularly fresh by any means, although space is a giant vacuum, but also it does nasty stuff to flesh. But it looks like these things, as well as other sort of scavenger type creatures, would have fed on it. So it's sort of similar of, imagine if you found like
my thoughts here are, is it bait?
Half a carcass. You get the feeling that that's what that is. Exactly what that is. That's bait.
Yeah. So this trap was clearly set up for these creatures to likely use and consume, meaning they're probably edible. But I don't know. I'm not the one who's going to make this call because, quite frankly, they're making me feel all the heebies and the jeebies.
If you don't mind my saying, if this was a trap that got set by someone, we should have someone keeping a lookout in case whoever set it comes by looking. Because right now, we're limping, and if they're not, we're an easy target, whether or not we're stuck in the web.
So the captain has clearly been affected by the dolphins as well, like has heard them as well, and says that, if there's a possibility of saving or helping them, any creatures that are capable of asking for help, I would assume, let's see what supplies we can find on the other ship before turning to eating the things that are asking for our help.
Did Lockridge say that our arcane manners of shutting the crystals down would probably be more effective?
I probably wouldn't have said one or the other, but as we go back away from the captain, once that decision's been made, he'll probably mention that he doesn't know anything about how to functionally use them, but he definitely knows how to break them. As far as I'm concerned, I think there's different types of magic affect them in different ways, but it's never been, magic's never been my strong suit. Breaking the crystals is just as effective, just takes a little longer, a bit more elbow grease, if you know what I mean.
I could try a spell or two on him and see if it does much.
Let's wait until the away team come back. But yeah, no, look, and if we can't use the magic to get away with it, like I said, I can always hop on over and give it a good old wick.
Actually, speaking of the away team, he pulls out a wire and aims it roughly in the general direction of Ruin and Lockjaw. And let's say, Lockjaw's in charge of supplies and stuff. Lockjaw hears in his head, while you're over there, take a look at their helm. Since ours is broken, maybe we can salvage theirs.
Oh, also, while we're on that thought, by the way, I just want to bring this to your attention, Will. And he leans over the edge, and there's this huge gash mark from where we crashed. Deserves to that.
Oh. Well, that's something else.
Right, I feel like if I end up on the starboard side of the ship, we're going to peel apart like a freaking mandarin.
All right.
Yeah, you can see that there's going to be some repairs needed.
Well, that'll take some time as well. I mean, I guess we're going to be here for a minute anyhow.
You can well, you're right up here at the bow of the ship. So you actually see some as you guys look on the starboard the port side there, where the long gash is. You see some sort of like flickering, some magical flickering, and you see some of the caved in boards, like the splintered wood that's in the that's floating in space sort of falls back into place, and the splintered wood kind of like pops and mends itself. And if you actually just take the second to like pop your head down the stairs and look, you can see that there are some crewmen downstairs that are starting to repair, and you can see that Lana is using her magic she's essentially casting mending, which is a little bit faster than just sort of hammer and nails. She lives in the galley, so the big hole in the galley, she's like, well, I guess I need to fix that. So it
that's
looks
going to
like,
be an issue.
it looks like the cook has also kind of been like, okay, everybody, well, we need to fix this.
Gosh, she's good to us.
So you do feel good that somebody is at least doing a little bit of something to help with that. Before I bounce back, do you guys want to try anything with any of these crystals, or are we going to wait for the ship to get taken care of and then we'll deal with the crystals?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I was going to say, I think we're just exploring for the time being, but for the most part, the idea is that if there's no supplies on the other ship, we are in desperate enough situations that we should be making use of this trap rather than disabling it.
Okay. Well then, for ease, Will?
Will is just out of idle curiosity, because wisdom isn't his strong suit. He throws a spell at the blue one that's closest.
What spell do you throw?
Well, let's see what targetable spells I have that are cantrips.
You don't want to burn a spell slot for this?
Not as a warlock. I don't have that many. Will's gonna try message, and if there's no reaction, he'll throw a mind sliver at it.
So as you target it with message,
Yeah.
make an Arcana check, please.
All right. 18.
So yeah, you target it with what, just for shits and grins, what message do you send to the crystal?
Oi.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so yeah, with an 18, you send the message, and when you normally get a message back, which we need to potentially get from Lockjaw in just a second, there's like the sound of like when you pick up an old landline and the line is live but nobody's talking. You normally have that. You get that, and then it's like the sound of, if you've ever heard really thick ice cracking. And you do in fact see a line, a crack, shatter through this blue crystal, and one of the beams of light that is emanating from it blinks out.
Good to know.
Oh. It's not.
Will looks a little sheepishly at Lockridge. Honestly, I did not think that was going to do anything, but hey, we learned something.
Didn't either. You rolled really well.
And
It was bound to happen.
What exactly have we learned from this?
Yes. Good question.
Well, even a non-damaging spell that's sent in its general direction can cause it to shut down.
So any kind of spell will probably turn it off.
Seems that way. That was just a standard message.
All right, and what did it say?
I didn't respond back. It sounded like normally when I send a message, folks can respond, and it sounded like something coulda, but nothing did.
So you're saying that the crystals might have actually been listening to you?
I mean, I suppose it's possible. I've seen Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's a really great show.
Any-
I quite enjoy it.
Aha.
Boo.
With that, I need you to roll for. No, I'm kidding.
Roll pun damage. All right. Well, look. I mean, obviously we know how to turn it off. Okay, and I think that's fun. I think for the most part, no harm, no foul on that one there. But maybe we still hold off because I don't know about you, but I mean, feeding the whole crew, making sure that they're all well off, it's kind of the priority here as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll hold off on any other spells. Wonder if a damaging one would make it break faster, though. We can try that later.
I like your thinking. I like breaking things very quickly. It's very much my entire thing. I wonder if anything horrible and incredibly tragic has happened on the other ship. They're very quiet.
So, as with that, I think actually here's what we'll do is since the consensus will be, well, let's take care of the ship first, and then we'll deal with the map. Let us say that Will and Lockridge, you two head over this little rope bridge to join, because many hands make light work. As you're walking over, before you leave the ship, you do get your response from Lockjaw. You tell Lockjaw to look for the helm. Lockjaw, how do you respond to Will with that?
I think he'll just be very curt. Aye, it's a good idea. We need something to steer the ship, but of course we're dead in the air if we can't get that hole patched up.
Yep.
And yeah.
So as
get to
nice.
looking.
So then the two of you will get across the little rope bridge there, and Will, you can go ahead and let Ruin and Lockjaw know that between the cook and the captain, some repairs are already starting to go underway, and that gets you all aboard this ship.
Yay!
As we start to look for things. But we'll kick it back to Lockjaw and Ruin first. Are there any specifics that you are looking for, or that places on the ship? You know that the ship is bigger than yours, but it's still going to have the same basic stuff. It's going to have an artificer's quarter. It's going to have a armory. It's going to have a captain's quarters, crew quarters, stowage, ballast, maybe a treasury of some sort, those sorts of things. What do you guys want to look for and do specifically while you're over here, as you keep a general eye out?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the helm's important, but if we can't make it through the days, there's no point in us piloting anywhere. We need food and we need water. That's the bare minimum. So I'm gonna mainly water, because that's water/booze, because that's most important.
Of course, priorities: booze/water.
Well, I imagine as well, like any liquid at all has been rationed, and so Lockjaw is probably somewhat in withdrawals, so like bleary-eyed and very short-tempered.
Yeah, if we end up in combat, we'll probably be at some disadvantages essentially as we go through the delirium tremens.
So yeah, I'm basically food and water is like my main thing, I reckon. What about you, Ruin?
Probably take the helm, disassemble as much as possible. while y'all load food and water. We'll spend time disassembling the helm and getting whatever pieces we need to get ours up and running again.
Good lad. All right. Well, you yell if there's anything a kicking on here that shouldn't be. And we'll
Nice.
start scrounging.
Okay. Everyone who is looking, everybody who's searching the ship for stuff to take back specifically, go ahead and make a investigation check for me, please.
By stuff to take back, do you mean anything that's being brought back whatsoever, or things that are useful for the crew?
I mean, if you've got something specific, I'm happy to hear that. I would love to hear about what you're specifically looking for. You know, giving me, I'm looking for supplies is one thing. If you say, well, I'm going through drawers because I'm looking for blah blah blah, that changes what you may or may not find. That changes difficulty checks and all that kind of stuff. So, as specific as you want, I love to hear it.
I mean, I rolled a 4. Is it even worth using an inspiration? It's still gonna be low.
I'd say
Shit.
so.
That's your
Yeah,
that's your
look, I'll use it. It's just a D6, right?
No, it's the reroll.
Oh.
yeah. This is the reroll.
Ah,
Yes,
excellent.
our
It's not one of
donation
my.
from earlier.
It's not one of my shitty inspirations. Let's give that a try. 17. That's much better.
17, 18. Ruin, are you looking in general for supplies, or are you looking for something more specific?
Me, I'm just gonna start disassembling the helm. While they're
You go
doing
to find that. You go to find the helm specifically. Okay.
Mhm.
Roll the investigation just to see where that takes you and all of that kind of stuff.
And Will's looking for paperwork in the captain's quarters, stuff saying what this ship was, why they were here.
Okay.
Any records, including like manifest, stuff like that.
Got it. Okay.
So that is a 17 for me.
And I got a 12.
17 and a 12. All right. So with all of those, I mean, everybody has passed our minimum difficulty thresholds. So with that, you are able to find water and ration supplies, food, not just rations, but food, enough that especially Lockjaw, Lockridge, you two know that like this will get us to the Astral Sea, at which point like you kind of don't have to worry nearly as much about some of those types of things. You don't have to worry about air once you get there, which is very nice. But you find weeks worth of food and supplies, water and supplies. So that makes you feel very good. Let's now go down the line here. Lockjaw, you specifically, as you're digging through things, you find one of the crew cabins, and you step on a board and it creaks funny.
Oh, I thought it was going to have a nail in it.
No.
You step
But, like,
on a
it just-
board, it has a nail, you impale yourself, you're done. Tetanus.
Or
that's it.
yeah, or not like step on it. Like there's it's like the bulkhead, the wall
Yeah.
of the ship. Like you go down the stairs and you can see where you see where the railing is. It's like 7 feet from you. But then you go down the steps to the lower cabin, and the bulkhead is like 2 feet from you, and like it's closer to you than the bulkhead is, the wall is supposed to be. And as you sort of lean against it, the bulkhead creaks and starts to give a little bit.
So am I thinking that this is some sort of concealed thing.
I don't know. Is that what you think? Do you mess with it more?
Yeah. I'm gonna
Poke,
yeah.
poke, poke,
yeah, well I'm
poke.
gonna take out my sword and see if I can't pry a board loose or have a bit of a look. Maybe tap on it, see if it's hollow.
Oh, you tap on it and it's like thunk thunk thunk, tink tink tink, thunk thunk thunk. You go back, tink tink tink, and there's a knot hole. And as you pound that with the pummel of your dagger, of your sword, the other end of the board just and you're able to pull that board back. This is a smuggler's compartment.
Perfect. Have they got alcohol?
What you find is a stash of various coins. And you are guessing that this is about 300 gold.
Oh.
Which is which is 6 weeks worth of wages as a spelljammer.
Oh. Shoot.
In one little, and there's like corn husks and cotton and things like that shoved in here so it wouldn't jingle around.
Yeah.
It dawns on you that this is not a hidey hole that a crew member put their stuff in.
Yeah.
This is a smuggler's compartment on what you're starting to think might be a smuggler's ship.
Great. Oh.
So that is what
means
our wonderful Lockjaw finds. Will,
Shame it wasn't rum.
Shame it was rum. Will, as you are sort of looking down, you're a couple of compartments down further. You go down. There's this ship has more decks than your ship does. So you go down another deck, and there are crates that are among the crates that the food supplies were in. And you pry a crate open, and it just smells like dirt. It smells like dirt and compost. And as you pry that crate open, looking at what's in there, you see what is very purposefully grown and cultivated. You see a mushroom fairy ring that has a little bowl that has some like oats that have been put into it, a small little schnapps glass that has some like wine that's been poured into it, and a gold coin in the center of this fairy ring.
Just on reflex, just kicks the crate apart and scatters it.
So you just destroy it.
Yes, immediately.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's awesome. And then Ruin, you do find you find the door that you are assuming leads to the helm, and there's like bars. You can see that there is a spell jamming helm. There's a chair in there. The door is hardened oak and iron and is like double locked.
Perfect.
And I'm going to bounce back to you. I just want to make sure you did find your thing. Lockridge, you are towards the bow. You're towards the stern of the ship. You're on the second deck, which seems to be a lot of stowage. And similar to what was going on with Lockjaw, you pass a porthole. You pass a window. And you remember that where this window was, there should be another 5 feet of this cabin space. You're right up against the back wall. But there should be more room to this room.
Yeah, right. Well, I
Okay,
suppose I could.
back to
Well, I suppose I could open this up. I'm going to basically put sling my gun because I've got it out. I'm like you know like where I don't know what's down here. Got my gun out, and then I sling it around the shoulder. And I'm going to...
Okay. Make a strength check with advantage.
Hell yeah, because I'm a hippo.
Yeah.
Hippo.
Take this inanimate wooden frame.
Such a good word to say in a South African accent. Hippo.
21.
21.
Jesus. I need you to roll unarmed damage for me, please.
Unarmed damage, eh? Well, that's just 2 damage, flat out.
Oh, just okay. For you, with your strength. Okay. You break through the wall much easier than you should. And it occurs to you as you go through it that part of it is because the wall also just hinges in,
Oh crap!
like it's a Murphy wall.
Yeah.
Like there's a pivot somewhere in there. So you haven't necessarily broken the wall. You've broken the lock that was keeping this secret door closed. You collide, and you hear, not out loud, but in your mind, you hear yelping in pain, this voice. And as you look down, there is a sort of greenish teal. It's hard to say that a insect looks emaciated because they don't have like flesh to get droopy, but you see this greenish teal emaciated thrycreen whose 2 legs and 4 arms are all in shackles, and they're chained to the floor like some sort of prisoner, in this little like 4 foot by 5 foot room. It smells awful. There's excrement over in one corner. There's a empty plate and an empty water cup that's over there. They yell out in pain as you run into them, and they crumple to the floor unconscious.
Whoops.
Not like dying, but unconscious.
Whoops.
Hold on. Hey,
That's what you want to say?
Hey, buddy. You're right. It was an accident,
My bad.
alright? The door, it didn't pass all health and safety standards, alright? It wasn't my fault, alright? Are you okay?
Oh, you want to
Yeah.
talk OSHA now after shooting?
So yeah.
Oh, shit.
So as you slap them in the face, they make a death savings throw. No.
And he basically goes,
hear...
"Oh, this is Bombasi all over again."
Oh no.
I'm
There you go.
gonna see if I can.
Bombasi
I'm gonna see.
and squid.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can try to grab onto I'm gonna see if I can try to grab onto the wherever the shackles are like attached to the ground, and basically just kind of wrap them around my hand and try to like break them from the flooring, so I could like just sort of huck this guy over and see if actually go find out if we have any actual healers back on board the ship, seeing as our healer hung himself.
Yeah.
Let's say, I mean, between your strength checks and advantage and all of that kind of stuff, let's say it takes a couple of pulls, but yeah, you're able to sort of essentially rip that out of the floor, and you throw this bag of sticks, this thrycrene,
Remember,
over
kids,
your
if violence
shoulder.
isn't solving your problems, you're just not using enough.
Apparently. Yeah, so you guys, as you do come together, I know, so let's say that we sort of come back together. You see Lockridge has this teal thrycreen thrown over the insect race, thrown over his shoulder. Lockjaw, I don't know if you mention anything specific about finding these smuggling hidey holes or not.
I would mention the food.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
The food, and there's sort of a chain of supplies that are making its way back over that rope. As you all have continued to look.
And I will imply that I have found I found enough to make the rest of this trip worthwhile. But all the same, we follow an order here. And it's gonna go straight to the captain first. If you think that you want to take more than what you're owed, then you're gonna get everything you deserve, if you get my drift. Kind of,
right.
yeah.
Is it
threatening
It's just
Anyway.
the four of us, Lockjaw.
What's that?
I mean, it's just us here. The crew's back over there, but it's very impressive.
Well, I know that sometimes the spirit of sharing don't come to us all naturally, Lockridge.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying,
I
there's
just-
not to be any hoarding of this pay. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Lockridge is a little
Okay.
embarrassed.
I
I am ashamed.
Ooh.
Trying to look out for you, and now
Um,
you'll criticize him.
Nix, do you bring up the locked room?
Yeah, just I found the helm, got no access to it. We could try and take did I look at the door? Is it like something I could, with some time, take apart?
I mean, with some maybe with the help of Lockridge's like firepower. But if it's that secure, are there things that are trapped? I mean, a spelljamming helm is, if you get control of that, you get control of the ship, as well as they are incredibly expensive. So you might want to try to like look for a way in that is not so brute force.
But yeah, I found the helm. I got no access to it. If there's any way we could put our heads together.
What is stuck? Can't we just barge through?
It's a pretty secure door. If you can knock it down without damaging anything inside.
Well, there's no reason why we have to use the door to get in. I mean, walls are very brittle. You know, a lot of people like to make the mistake of making a door very secure, but forget that walls are made of wood.
I'd second that plan.
Okay.
Also, this is Eugene. I found him unconscious.
Yeah, you do have. There is an unconscious body still in practice. We'll say that there's as crew starts to come across and help move all of this kind of stuff. The Thrycreen is taken back aboard the ship. You are able to. Will, you said that you were also looking for just sort of the nature of the ship, and so with that, we'll say that aboard one of the bodies that's sort of up here towards the bow of the deck, it's clearly the captain. There are a set of keys, which between finding the captain and then you're able to get the door open. And while it takes a while, you're actually able to salvage the spelljamming helm and get that brought over. So overall, yeah, the trip to this ship resupplies you. You find a prisoner or a captive. You're not sure yet. They haven't quite woken up, and are able to take care of. They're stable. They're just unconscious. They're incredibly malnourished, as are most of the crew. But they're not dying. No. they are not like making death saves.
Good.
Which will essentially take us back to the ship and dealing with the magical crystals.
Before we did that, did we want to try and break the wall to the helm?
You found keys.
Oh, just keys. Oh, right. Did we want to
Do
break
we
the wall?
break the wall anyway?
I guess that
I mean, in all seriousness,
Jeez.
might not be a bad idea to have some extra wood in case we have other holes we need to patch.
Yeah,
We've
let's
probably most
do
of our
it.
supply of spare boards and things. So if we want to pull up some boards or knock down a wall or two just in case we need to make other repairs, it's always nice to have supplies.
I'd imagine that the other ship would also have some sundry repair stuff as well, suitable for them, which, you know, we could still grab some stuff at least. I mean, Ryan, just real quick, the way that the other ship is, like, you mentioned that the back has been broken by the asteroid that is kind of, like, collided into. Does it look like a lot of the people who died here, like, died from the crash, like, instantaneously? Or does it look like, you know, oh, they might have, like, tried to repair it? There's, like, you know, patchwork bits here and there, like...
there are no repairs that have been attempted on that other ship.
Yeah, so there should be...
Looks like this was a fatal crash.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it looks like there should be some repair supplies.
And I guess follow up to that, is there any, in terms of like the stuff that's on the other ship, I'm assuming that they do not seem like the ones who set this trap and they didn't just like fuck up and crash into their own trap and die. Like, it seems like this was probably set up by someone else.
There's not like a diagram of this trap. But what you're able to pull out of this, and as sort of the rest of this day goes on, there's some other interesting things that get brought over. One, there is this is clearly like a pirate ship. There is 2 large duffel bags, like they're mail bags. They're canvas bags the size of a person, that were either going to that were coming from Davy Station, and it actually looks like this was mail that's maybe 6 months old. As that starts to go, like there's letters, there's small parcels, there's things like that. That's something that actually it would be part of your job to go through to make sure that that's on the return voyage. If that ever happens, this goes to the right people. So Will, as you're cataloging that stuff, you know, it takes you a couple of hours to do that. You actually find a tied bundle of about 30 or 40 letters, and they are all packaged together, almost like a return to sender. And you see that the person that they are to be sent to's last name is Drova.
Huh.
They are, in fact, I can tell you this, they are, in fact, addressed to... looking for the name here. Kajina Drova.
We know that.
Drova.
You know, well, Will knows the last name. It's Ruin's last name.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So The letters that
You open
Or
them and
not.
read them. No.
well, I was gonna say is the letters that aren't addressed, to someone sharing a last name of someone that Will knows, Will absolutely reads.
I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of letters here. That it's
okay, so
it's a
he doesn't
mailbag.
he doesn't go through hundreds and hundreds of them, but every now and then we'll open and scan one. This came from a pirate ship. Who knows? There might be interesting information involved.
I mean, mostly what you're getting, true, it's from a pirate ship, but this was clearly mail that seemed to have been going to Davis Station. So yeah, you open one up and it's, and it says, Kayla, so happy you're making a new life. Sure do miss you planet side. Love, Nana.
Oh.
You open one that
fair
says,
play.
we've been trying to reach you about your Spelljammer's extended warranty.
Is there a
It's
box?
mail.
I'm just gonna burn that one to save them the headache.
Oh.
Also, something Will have done that I did not mention. They actually probably occurs to them after the fact, and they figure out an excuse to go back over to the Demeter. That crate that had the fairy circle in it, any markings on that crate?
The crate itself is very plain, but like the bowl has Fey script on it.
What does it say?
It's an offering. It's an offering bowl. Yeah.
That also gets broken if it did not get broken when the thing gets scattered.
All right.
Yeah,
you stomp on it and the wood snaps.
Cool. So if there isn't anything noteworthy on the crate itself, good to know. And will head back to the northwest and look to find Ruin.
Yeah, you find not a big ship.
Ruin, if you would come with me to the quarters, there's something I'd like to talk to you about.
Up. Would they break now?
Oh, no one broke anything. Just something I think that you'd like brought to your attention. And as soon as we are not in the middle of the crew, now we've known each other a bit and sort of have an unspoken agreement that we don't like talking much about certain things. I found these, and I don't know if it's any relation to you, but do you know Kajina Drova?
And you'll see me kind of, yeah.
Just holds the parcel or the package of letters towards Ruin.
So
And I'll just kind of
hands...
like snatch them, but like give you a look like, sorry.
I didn't open them, but it was in the mail bag and recognized the name, or at least the last one.
Yeah, and it's a stack of every letter that you've sent her over the last 9 months. They have not been opened. And then on top of it is one letter that is addressed to you.
Goddamn ASPS.
Do you find the time later to read the letter?
Yeah, as soon as the work's done, we all
when
settle in.
When you are alone and read it, it's very short. It's one line. It says, "Stop writing me. Stop writing my son."
Oh.
For what it's worth, on the handoff of those letters, Will would absolutely incite the shit out of Ruin, or certainly try to.
You could make an insight check. Ruin, make a persuasion or deception check. Don't tell me which. but just roll a d20 and add the perception, the bonus to it, and tell me what it is.
Oh, how curious is Will? Will is really nosy. I'm gonna knowledge of a past life on that to see how high I can get on that.
Yeah, I hope you win because I'm nosy too.
13.
Oh, 14. I get it anyway. I don't need to knowledge of past life on it.
Your surface level thoughts about that person?
Just surface level thoughts, just an extreme feeling of like deep shame, regret.
All right.
So
Cool.
Two more things happen fairly quickly. One, much later that night, as Will lays in bed, just as you drift off to sleep, you hear in your head the voice of Dannon as they say, "You know, I was very impressed by your little moment with the fairy ring earlier. Well done."
Now, just tell me you didn't orchestrate all of this to get us to this ship so I could do that.
No. It's far too much work to get you just exactly here. Although it occurs to me that where you're going, you might have a lot less opportunity to just happen across little silly fairy things. You might have to start going out of your way. Otherwise, well, I'm just not sure that I can offer the type of protection that I've given you from that other person's spies. And you drift off to sleep.
No, I don't. After that,
You don't hear
me?
anything else. You don't hear anything else from them.
Will stares at the ceiling for the next 4 to 8 hours.
You all do awake or are still awake.
Will will also hear throughout the night just this.
It's true. You guys do all share a cabin.
I am sure they are used to it by now.
You are awoken to the sound of whale song.
Oh.
Mournful, beautiful, haunting whale
Just like
song.
that.
It wasn't in the sound list. I made it.
Nailed it. And it's loud and it seems to rumble the ship. And as the crew sort of gathers on deck, and even the captain comes out of her cabin, and as you look, because there are these giant astral creatures, these giant astral whales, but you're still in wild space, and you can see this beautiful nebula off in the distance. A small nebula. It's either a very small nebula or it's very, very far away. And it seems that this collection of asteroids must be very, very near the edge of wild space, or you've drifted towards the edge of wild space and you're just on the very brink of the astral sea here. And as you sit, there's this weird sense of vertigo as everyone on deck looks at this nebula, and it seems to almost shift and shrink and solidify and take shape as the long strands of shapeless gas of this nebula become a curved shape, long tendrils,
Oh.
a fin, a tail, and then towards the front, what you took to be the center of the nebula, this red and green eye of the nebula shifts and makes eye contact with you and blinks as this creature none of you have ever seen before, this nebula whale, large enough to have slowed the ship in its own gravity well, turns and lets out a whale song using 2 of its legendary actions. I need everyone to make a DC 15 wisdom save.
Oh man.
Oh.
No.
Holy shit. Well,
See you guys later.
Those of you that made the save take 9 points of psychic damage. Those of you that failed take 18 points of psychic damage.
What was the DC?
15.
Oh.
As you are filled with a painful song invading your minds, the captain clutches her head as the whale, in a surprising amount of speed, dashes forward and lashes out at the captain, biting into the side of the ship. She takes 37 points of damage,
okay.
which brings Captain Grawl to 0. You watch as her body dematerializes and is teleported to another plane.
What?
As this great nebula whale rears back and bellows again. Which is how we will close out Chapter 1 of The Flight of the Northwest.
Oh my god.
It's no moon. It's a boodle.
Remind me to tell you guys my whale joke at some point when we have 5 minutes.
Excellent.
So, as we wrap up very quickly, because I know that we ran long this evening, thank you everyone for sticking with us. This was Chapter 1 of The Flight of the Northwest. Thank you so much to my entire cast. We will be taking a week off from the show. So in 2 weeks, we will be back to see how does the crew, now without a captain, deal with this giant whale on the edge of the astral sea. A huge thanks to everybody that has been watching and all of our donations. We have some amazing magic items that are going to be discovered and found and put into everybody's inventory. Those 2 magic items are going to be here for our next episode. There's so much that's great. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all of everything that's going on in chat. It's great to see you all there. Huge thank you to all of these wonderful players that are making this such a fun game. The interactions with each other, the backstories, all of that great stuff. Starting off with Ellen playing Lockjaw. Where can we find you? Where can we watch you? Where can we listen to all your other stuff?
Yes, so you can follow me on Twitter at EllenKGraham1, where you can see all the stuff I'm up to. Also, make sure that you listen and subscribe to the podcast Roll to Cast. That's ROLE to Cast. Each season is a different game system, so there's something for everyone. It's fully scored, all that good stuff. You can find me on Sirenscape on Friday mornings for Cyberpunk Red, and you can find me on Cyberpunk Uncensored monthly at the end, the last Sunday, but really first Monday of every month to play some Dune. There it is. Oh my gosh.
Awesome. We have Nix, who plays Ruin, our engineer. Where can we find you? Where can we buy your stuff?
Hi, I'm Nix. You can find me on Twitter at MC_etching. Most everywhere else on the Twitches and the whatnot is Punkle Nix. I'm a glass etcher. You can find my work for the moment on Etsy. Long story. You can also find me on Thursday nights over on the GR crew playing some Expanse with the Ghost of Karis campaign that we've just started. We're 2 episodes in. and we're all going to die horribly.
And then Tucker playing Will, our bosun. Where can we find you and what do you do?
My name is Tucker. I am doing some 3D modeling these days. You can find some examples of that on Instagram at shadowcast_creations. I am on Twitter at shadowcast3dm, or if you want to contact me about any potential work or background or character art or something like that you're interested in having done, I can be emailed at shadowcast.creations@gmail.com.
Absolutely. And I am Ryan. You can find me at Roll4 Initiative on YouTube, R4I Vlog, Roll4 Initiative on Twitter and Instagram, and all of that kind of fun stuff. Where my partner and I, we make videos, DM diaries, reviews, all kinds of fun, geeky stuff like that. Dawn also did all of the maps of the Northwest. Tucker did the 3D modeling. Dawn did the maps, and the maps were our Patreon maps for the month. And so, yeah, come follow us and check out all that other stuff. And then, of course, our wonderful host, Michael.
G'day guys, my name's Michael. I'm the Dead Aussie Gamer. You can find me here a lot of time doing a whole bunch of really cool and fun things. What am I doing next? No, just regular streams for the time being. I've got nothing cooking. Or do I? That's right, guys. On the 26th for the folks in the US, and on the 25th for the US, 26th for the Aussies, I'm going to be doing an Iron Chef D&D one-shot adventure where a group of individuals will be going toe-to-toe in a culinary chaos themed around Dungeons & Dragons. I'm going to have a bunch of my friends come and join me and celebrate and raise money and do all the cool things. So be sure to come and check those out, because it'll be a lot of fun and it'll be good to have you there. More details to follow if you follow me on Twitter and all the other social medias. Yeah, thank you, Ryan, for yet another wonderful and amazing journey into Spelljammer. We are now going to go and raid our dear friend over at Darling Creepshow, a wonderful streamer who is currently streaming their Ghosts of Saltmarsh campaign. So I thought of all the D&D groups that are doing stuff right now, that seem to be the most on board with what we're doing. I'll leave. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for spending your time. Until we meet again, as always, from us to you, game hard or die trying. Bye, everyone.
Bye.